Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Wednesday. It is Masters Week for those of you who are golfers out there and non-golfers alike. I think everybody kind of watches the Masters now, especially with Tiger Woods playing, confirmed yesterday. Super excited about that. I am coming to you live today from San Diego, from Steel Canyon Golf Club, just outside of San Diego, California. I'm at the TIA, Transportation Intermediaries Association, Capital Ideas Conference and Exhibition. And this is the golf tournament. So that's why I'm wearing a hat. Shout out to my boy, Ryan Rogers, who's going to be on the show tomorrow, CEO of Text Locate, and the guy who owns Silver Fox. So go to silverfox.style, use promo code BETA10, you'll get 10% off. Great hats, phenomenal shirts, the best shirts in my closet. So definitely check that out. Silverfox.style, use BETA10 to get 10% off. Very excited about that. But we got golf today. So I got the hat on. After our podcast today, I'm jumping out on the golf course. I can't wait to get out and play with some friends and see if we can do some damage in this tournament. So it's going to be awesome. What's up, Jim Bevins? Thanks for jumping on the show. Good to have you on the show today. Also, for everybody out there, make sure you go to betaconsultinggroup.com, betaconsultinggroup.com to learn more about how we can help you with your sales and marketing strategies to improve your outcomes. We're all about branding, messaging, marketing, content creation, sales processes, all that good stuff. And we can help you out. So betaconsulting.com, check us out. We'd love to help you out. Reach out to us, and that'll be great. Okay, that's enough for the announcements, everybody. We got a phenomenal guest today. Phenomenal guest today. I've been excited about this one for a while. I met this woman probably a year and a half ago, something like that. We'll talk about it when we get on the show, but I'm telling you, like, from the moment that I met this woman, I knew she was different. She was special. She had the it factor. We're going to talk about that today. So everybody, welcome to the show, my good friend, Mackenzie Boli. Mackenzie, where are you? Come on in there. There you are. What's up, Mackenzie? How are you?
What's up? Hey, Trey. I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. So good to see you, man. I've been looking forward to this show for a long time. The moment that you said yes, I was like, yes, I can't wait. So excited about that. How are you? Tell everybody a little about who you are, because I know, but a lot of people might not know. Who is Mackenzie?
Yeah, for sure. And Trey, actually, right before I answer that, I'm also wearing my athletic wear because I'm gonna hit the slopes after this. So different worlds, but
that's right. I told you I'm recording on location. You're like, I'm recording on location, but the show must go on, which I love it. So that's awesome. You're in where are you in Colorado? Breckenridge, you said?
Breckenridge, Colorado.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm not sure what's better, Breckenridge, Lake Spring, or San Diego. I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, I know, but
I mean, if you could play golf there, I would definitely go with that. All right, so tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Trey, I know you and I met maybe 1 or 2 years ago on LinkedIn.
You're one of my pandemic friends.
Yeah. And I came to one of your I don't remember the name of it, but the lunch hours that you were hosting.
The Word on the Street, yeah, which is still happening on Fridays at noon.
Yes. Yeah. So, anyways, it's funny. I also recently changed jobs and am on an entrepreneurial journey right now. And the talk track has gone out. You have yours down way better than me. It's gone out the window in some ways because it's hard to sometimes know where to start. But I guess what I'll say is I have a background in environmental science and mathematics.
Mathematics? Yes. Keep going.
And I basically became kind of obsessed. I spent a summer in Guatemala doing dendroclimatology research. Oh, wow. And became pretty obsessed with the fact that the research didn't matter unless we could connect what we were doing to the politics that were taking place. And that was really the only way to have an influence on anyone's life. So, kind of parlayed into going into government and then found my way into tech and data visualizations and data science, and really loved the startup that I worked at for a handful of years. But I always gravitated towards the sales side of things, and there weren't any real sales mentors at the company that I worked at. And so that's how I found Jake Dunlap and scaled, and how we ultimately got connected. So anyways, I don't know. That's a little bit of something about me.
No, I love that. And, there's so many things I just learned about you there that's so cool. First of all, I had no idea that you were into environmental science, a scientist and a mathematician, and yet you're also a writer and very creative. And I think that's where we probably connect, because I'm the same way. I'm a physicist, scientist as well. I've been through Calc 3, and I taught physics in high school for 3 years, but I love to write. I love to be creative. And so it's kind of like working both sides of the brain. I love that. I love learning about you. That's so cool. And you're right. I mean, Jake, shout out to our boy, Jake Dunlap, who, Yeah, we grew up 10 minutes apart. Didn't even know it. He was in Lee Summit. I was in Raytown in Kansas City. And so we got some fun stories to talk about in that regard. But yeah, we got to meet probably a year and a half ago and do a little bit of work together, which was a lot of fun. And I'm so excited for your journey. I would love, before we get started, for you just to tell everybody what you're doing right now. So your company is Mac Brand. Tell everybody what you're doing with that.
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny. I honestly really left my job with the intention of working on a personal writing project. But this is just such a testament to what building a personal brand does. After a year and a half of being in a highly visible role, and then like going kind of cold on LinkedIn and not posting anymore, and not really not updating my work, not doing anything publicly, I probably had like 3 to 5 people reaching out a week, being like, "Hey, Mackenzie, what are you doing? Like, you left Scaled. Like, did you finally start your own thing? Hey, I've been wanting you to write my book. Will you write my book for me?" And so I really pretty quickly had like a full roster of clients from no sales, no marketing. I don't have a website, like nothing. But I had invested, like I said, a year and a half of posting like pretty regularly daily on LinkedIn, and also hosting on Clubhouse. And so it's crazy how that momentum carried over, and it's starting to like peter out a little bit. Like, I don't think that that's a forever thing, but it really just is a strong testament to how powerful the work that we were doing at Scaled, some of the stuff that I'm doing now, which is helping CEOs and founders of particularly tech companies tell their stories. Like, I don't think of myself as a marketer. I don't really think of myself as a salesperson either. I honestly think of myself as a storyteller. And so when I meet like incredible, passionate people who are like doing cool shit, I tend to write those stories for them in very compelling ways, and have just had like, yeah, I don't know. It's so much fun. I love doing it.
You're definitely a storyteller. And, I love the fact you're helping CEOs with that. My boy Hayden is also a storyteller, good friend of mine. And thanks for watching the show, Hayden. Always good to see your name pop up. But, I think there's something to be said about that. A couple of things. I'm going to unpack a couple of things you just said. The value of creating a personal brand, because a personal brand, it helps people connect to you in a way that's like an emotional connection, this familiarity, this trust. They feel like they know you. And I want every CEO to have that, because I think that CEOs need to be the face and the voice of their company, and all the benefits that come with it. I mean, think about what you just said there. No sales, no website, no marketing, and people are reaching out to you because they know you, and then they recognize you're doing something else, so that you're not there, like you were noticeably absent, and they're reaching out to you. Like, I think every company would want that. They would want people reaching out to them, right? And by telling their stories, especially CEOs who are, I mean, this is their baby, this is their brainchild, their vision. For them to tell their story is so powerful. And the power of personal branding, I can't emphasize that enough. I love that, and congratulations to you on all that. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And honestly, the first thing that I took on, so I'm ghostwriting a book right now for a customer.
You're a ghostwriter? Hold on. You're the first ghostwriter I've ever met who I know is a ghostwriter. This is exciting. Yeah. I mean, I know that like there are people that use ghostwriters. Those people, but I've never met the people who actually do the writing. I love it. That's you.
I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I always joke, like, the content that I put out on social channels on a weekly basis, regularly gets like 5 million views, but it's just none of it is under my name, right? But if I look across all the accounts I'm managing, so the first thing that I kind of started working on was a book project with someone who I had met through Clubhouse. And then, along with that, he's doing, content through social channels like TikTok and LinkedIn and Instagram. He's actually still really active on Clubhouse. He's like the only person I know who still has a pretty big,
I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I know. It just like disappeared, right?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for LinkedIn audio. Seriously, I want LinkedIn.
There's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. No doubt about it. To everybody out there who's a LinkedIn person, there's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Let's just say that.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, so Trey, yes, a personal brand is invaluable for your personal career and for your company. So I I can't wrap my head around why people aren't doing it if they aren't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's two elements to it. There's the CEO storytelling, like you talked about, which I think is critical for prospective employers who can resonate with somebody like Jake Dunlap, for example. Let's just use him. He posts a lot of content. You can know who Jake is. Now, whether you like him or not, that's up to you. But you know who he is. Like there's this familiarity, there's this level of trust in who he is because he's putting himself out there. And as a CEO, it brings trust and kind of comfort to your prospective clients as well, because they feel like they understand who you are, what your values are. And if they resonate with your values, they're probably going to resonate with your company's values because you're the one that's plugging those. So there's so many tangible benefits to building that brand. But then you go to the sales side as well. I mean, if you're in sales and you're not using social media, especially LinkedIn, to help your prospects become familiar with who you are, I feel like you're totally missing out. I mean, it's just a big miss for a sales team, you know?
Well, and for business, but also, I mean, the Jake example, the reason I went and worked at Scaled is because, I think I said, like, I was working at this startup, was in a sales role, but didn't have any real mentorship there.
Right.
And, like, sought Jake out. And, when I considered, I wasn't even considering, I wouldn't have left that company or that job for probably anyone or anything except for Jake Dunlap, because I knew him, I trusted him. He already was making me better in my job, like, before he even knew who I was. And I was like, holy shit, if I have a chance to go work for this person, like, I'm going to do it. Right. And so I guess you can ask Jake if he thinks if it was like a good thing or a bad thing, but, but like, it's just invaluable for recruiting, for sales, for anything and everything you would ever want to do.
100%. Any CEO who is listening to this, if you're not building your personal brand, you're missing on the benefits for your company, like 100%. So I think that's really important. I love the fact that you're helping CEOs tell their story. I think that's part of it, is that a lot of CEOs aren't storytellers. Sometimes they're visionary type of people, but maybe they're problem solvers, maybe they're tech developers, whatever their skill set is, whatever their strength is. Storytelling might not be one of those. So having somebody like you who can help tell stories, having someone like me, I do the same thing from a video perspective for CEOs, is help them tell their stories. Like, that is so critical. And I mean, I'm so excited that you're doing that. It's just awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and the other thing, Trey, too, and I know you've used some like help with some of your content before too. Like, I don't, when I think about like building my personal brand, and when I show up and get really active on LinkedIn again, which will happen someday.
I hope so. Please.
Yeah, like, but I will hire someone to help me too, because it's not just like, are you a good storyteller? Yes or no. It's, are you a good storyteller? And like, are you able to step out of yourself for long enough to really understand all the facets of what you're talking? Like, I just think that a third party's point of view, perspective, ability to ingest, sort, like, help create a compelling story is invaluable for everyone. Even if you're an amazing storyteller, even if you're a great writer, like, yeah, I've already been talking to folks and like, think I know who I'll hire to help me with some of my stuff, because you can't do it alone. Like, I just don't think it comes out as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Having multiple kind of perspectives on it and different experiences, and some people have done other things that work on different social media channels. I mean, there's definitely value in committee in this regard. Some of my first hires were also in the creative aspect, the writing aspect, to help with those types of things. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Having outside eyes, having outside perspectives is so valuable. And not just for that, but I mean, I think just having outside eyes on your entire company and other things, that's a whole other discussion. But having that outside perspective, I think, is really valuable, so that you can step out of yourself for a little bit, like you said, and have somebody else kind of feeding you some information and some observations. Really critical for a leader to do that, to excel, I think, in business and get the most out of their company and what they're doing. So no, it's very exciting. It's very cool. Now, let me ask you a question. You're a ghostwriter. Are we going to see a book, though, published by Mackenzie Boli? Are we going to see your name on the front cover of a book soon?
Yeah, I mean, even the book that I'm writing, like, my name will still be on it. I mean, that's part of the, I mentioned I'm working on like some of my own writing projects, but the cool thing about a couple of the books that I'm helping with right now is that these guys have already like made it, right? Like, they've already made it in their respective fields. And so it will be very easy for us to go get these books published. Whereas, my like creative fiction project, like, who knows how many years it'll be before that. I mean, it will happen, but like, I just don't know how many years it'll be before we see that on shelves. So it's cool to be able to go through the process and like have a story that's already defined in some ways, right? Not just like my creative ramblings, and like have a timeline and like get stuff out. So yes, you will. My name will be on them. That's part of
Love
it.
it. Okay, so I want to commit from you. I want a commitment from you that I'm going to get a signed copy of your book. I want to make sure that we get that on the record. Is that possible? Can we get a signed copy of your book?
Oh, easy.
Love it, with a personal note, maybe, something like that. So
Absolutely.
that'll be awesome. I also have the dreams of writing a book someday as well. I've got a couple of starts, but it's hard to kind of plug it down and finish. What's the process for writing a book really, really well? What's the timeline? What is that? What goes into that?
Well, I mean, to be 100% transparent, I think that I'm probably still figuring it out. But I mean, like the process that we've worked on, and it's cool because some of these people are folks that I had known in some professional capacity before. But it's fun. I have like a little like journalists like recorder basically, and go like hang out with these people. And this is actually with all of my clients and all of the writing that I do, and why I think it's important to hire someone external from your company to do this is that my main objective with the people that I work with is to establish trust to the point where they're not censoring anything that they're saying to me, with the recognition and expectation that I would, of course, like if there's anything that is on the border of like, oh, maybe this should get, written or published, or maybe it shouldn't, like, obviously I'm going to err on the side of whatever it is that they want. But like the ability to have someone just like completely freely speak and talk about stories and their childhood and whatever comes up, and not be like censoring it or trying to write it. My like biggest pet peeve is when someone will like, and you can see it happen. They switch from like telling you a story to being like, well, yeah, like the first sentence would be this. And then they start trying to like write it for you. And it doesn't work. That's the whole point of having someone external to you, like help do this. So, I'm working with CEOs of medium-sized tech companies, and like, there's a lot of trust that has been established there, right? Like these people, I know some of their like deepest, darkest secrets, right? And like, I know kind of everything about them. Like, I know like who at their company is like mad at someone else and who got in it, like whatever, because it's like therapy for business. That's how I think about it. And obviously I'm asking strategic, targeted questions as well. But that is the thing that like that trust is what allows this whole entire process to happen. So when I think about writing a good book or anything well, I think it starts with like a deep level of trust between myself and who I'm working with. And so that is always like priority number one, like get this person talking in a way where they're not censoring. And that doesn't happen in one single session. Like trust is not something that is established that quickly. So that part of it's a process. Aside from that, I think it's being willing. I am not someone who like thinks that the client is always right at all. And so like, if people are very like headstrong about that or whatever, then we probably won't get along very well. Because obviously I'm always like listening and very respectful of what people want and are looking for. But I'm also going to say when I think people are wrong or when I think there's a different approach. So like this book we started writing, it originally was a bunch of case studies about a few people. And I can't talk about too much of it, but what it morphed into was really just a single case story about this one person's life. And, I think he didn't want to be vulnerable in that way at first. And it took a lot of like slow over time convincing and putting words on paper and showing him how like, this is what makes the story. So yeah, I don't know, some combination of those things I think are at the heart and soul of like really writing something special.
Yeah, and I like what you said about trust, which really is a business principle if you think about it, because trust produces speed. If the person you're working with trusts you, you can write that book a lot faster. But in business, if you trust your employees, you train them well, and you trust them, then they can make decisions and do things without having to put everything past you and jump through hoops. It just creates a level of speed. I think trust is so critical in business, and it sounds like it is for what you're doing too.
You're so right, Trey. And even like, I mean, what will blow your mind is a lot of the clients I work with. And again, this is after periods of time of working together. This isn't like day one, but a lot of the people I work with don't even see the posts that get published to some of their social channels before they go live. And like what that enables is exactly what I can just get a voice note, a 1-minute voice note, and have a post out in like 10 minutes. Right.
Right.
And so like that speed, if I had to like go back and like let them read it and they're going to have like a few edits or ask questions about whatever, like that severely inhibits that speed. And we know
Totally.
how important
Yeah.
that is in business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, trust equals speed, in my opinion. I think Gary Vaynerchuk says all the time, who I follow a lot. But the idea that if you trust your people, if there's a level of trust there, you can move a lot faster and give people the benefit of the doubt and give them some leash, like give them the opportunity to fly, right? And be creative and be who they are and their best self. I just think when people are given the freedom to do that, they usually, especially if there's somebody that's pretty ambitious or pretty driven, they're gonna reach heights that you probably couldn't even have pushed them to anyways if you give them the opportunity to do that. So let me ask you about this. So you're somebody who I would consider as being pretty ambitious, as being very kind of like goal oriented and wanting to accomplish a lot, and yet also maintaining, and I say yet because a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of ambitious people struggle with this. You have such a great demeanor about you with clients and with prospects, very welcoming, very approachable, almost kind of like this gentleness to you that's just really cool. Yet you maintain that ambition, and like, where did that come from? Talk a little bit about why you think that way, or is that a surprise to you that I would give you that perspective?
I mean, honestly, I think that a lot of I
Putting
mean,
you on the spot here. Sorry.
question, right? Because I think that, where does it come from? I mean, honestly, it comes from needing to be very independent from a young age, and figuring out how to like navigate an adult world as a kid. I think that that's a big part of it. Like, the ability to like come in and be like unassuming, but then like know in the back of my head like that that is not at all like who I am. Like, I just think it like I mean, I don't know where it comes from exactly, but I do think it like helps break down barriers and establish trust quickly. Especially because like I tend to be someone who sits back and observes a little bit before I jump in. And I think that then by the time that I jump in with something, people are like, whoa. So I don't know exactly where it comes from, but
Well, whatever it is, you've got it. There's no doubt about it. And what you just said is a principle I think is really good for leaders to think about, and that is, you said you like to listen first. When you said that, I just got goosebumps. I love that because I think that leaders sometimes want to give their opinion first, and that actually hinders the creativity of a group. Like if I'm in charge and we come up with a problem and I tell you my solution first, that's going to put some doubt in your mind to share your solution unless you're really strong-willed. But if as a leader, you step back and you just listen to people first, you can allow people to be creative and you can hear all the ideas, and then you can come in with where you think you should land on that. But it helps you form your opinions. In the back of your mind, you kind of know what you want to do, but it allows you to hear honestly from other people. Man, that is such a big skill as well, to listen. I love that about you as well, that you're willing to do that and not just throw your opinion out there right away. And that's a really important skill for business as well.
well, and I actually do know where, like, the big place that came from was like, I worked for the city of Boulder as my first like real job. And I led all these community workshops, and like, I was like a kid. I felt so little getting up in front of these like, community members, and people. And what I learned really quickly was that the only way to have credibility with these people as like a very young woman in a position of power was to listen first, because that was the single only way that the people that in the audience or room were going to respect me, was if I listened first. Because I didn't know anything. Like, what the heck was I going to say that was like worthy of these people's time? And so like, I did learn that skill like very deeply in that role. Like, you're in charge of everything if you just like sit back and listen first. Like, yeah, it's cool.
My favorite things to do is to be in a group of people, especially people that are way smarter than me. Love that. And ask a really good open-ended question and just sit back and listen. Man, I learned so much. And then when I do talk, it sounds like I know what I'm doing, but a lot of times I'm kind of piecing together what I think is kind of the best thought from what they've said in many ways. So I think you can learn a lot by being willing to listen, but you can also get people to, like, you can galvanize people to come together because they feel like they've been heard, and that's such an important thing for a team, for people to feel like they can speak, and that when they do, that they're heard. And again, I just love that about you, what you do. And it's just really cool. All right. So let's do this. I want to summarize real quick some of the things we talked about. There's been a lot in this session, and we're already at 25 minutes. It's amazing. I told you it would go by fast. I told you that. So if you create a personal brand, it makes sales and marketing easier. That was number one. I can't emphasize that enough.
You have to do it.
No, right. For somebody out there who's thinking about, like, yeah, maybe I should do that. What's the first step? What's step number one you would give them? Just, I mean, there's 100 steps. What's step one?
I mean, if you can afford it, hire someone to work with you, because it will expedite the process of it, like, by years. I mean, I know people who had been putting out content for 1 to 2 years and just had no actual outcomes that they were looking to accomplish. And within a month or two, like, we blew it up, right? And those are my favorite people to work with, who've already put in the time, because it was, I got a lot of the credit, even though honestly, like, a lot of the work that he had put in over the years was like the foundation of that. Do something. Anything is better than nothing. You can go look at my TikTok and like laugh at it, because that is my, it's hard to look at my LinkedIn right now, or, my clients' LinkedIn's right now, and understand where to start. But go look at my TikTok, and what's
your TikTok handle?
It's really, this is like straight up embarrassing for me, right? Like, it's media by Mac brand, MACKBRAND. And it's embarrassing. Like, it really is. Like, it's embarrassing for me to think about people watching those videos, but that gives you a sense of like how you, like, just do anything. Cause the thing is, at the beginning, no one's watching anyways. No one cares.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Don't get in your own way, because nobody's watching. It's totally cool.
Unless you like publicly direct people to it.
I love that. And the thing I would say too is this, like what you said, is to find somebody who knows what they're doing. It's like working out. Like, where do you start working out? Well, if you hire a personal trainer, they'll help you real fast. They'll get you on track real fast, as opposed to you having to try to work it out, figure it out yourself. So I love that advice. I think that's really good advice. And then the second thing that I'm going to end on today, just to kind of summarize what you said, is, building trust and how that speeds up the process. Again, so critical. And I love the fact that you shared that. Mackenzie, this has been amazing. I'm so glad that you've been on the show today. I hope you'll come back and do this again. We definitely need to have another chat, because this went way too fast. You cool with that?
Absolutely.
I love it. And real quick, as we end here, a couple of reminders for everybody watching the show. Again, thank you for watching. Be sure to follow, subscribe, like, and comment, so you can see every time that I go live. And also check out some of the other things that we're doing. So on Mondays at 6 a.m., I'm doing Iron Minds, which is like a little workout / talking about getting your mind right for the week with my boy Hayden Allred. Very fun, something we enjoy doing. You can join the workout with us. And then we also have Word on the Street, which is on Fridays at noon. So that's a lot of fun. Mackenzie's been on that once before. It's a good time, a lot of good people, good conversation. Most importantly, though, people, have a wonderful rest of your day. Be sure to check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com. Come back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for my boy Ryan Rogers, owner of Silver Fox, silverfox.style, beta 10, get your 10% off. And he's also going to talk about Text Locate, which is a really cool service in transportation. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. Mackenzie, thanks so much. It's great to have you on.
Thanks, Trey. Enjoy golfing.
I can't wait. I'm about to get out there. All right, everybody, have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.